The reopening measures are slowly taking place amid the coronavirus pandemic. Malls and restaurants are working again, and factories move more and more of their personnel back into the offices. However, that doesn't mean that people won't get sick anymore. On the contrary, there are now many more chances of spreading the virus even farther. To protect the employees and clients of your business, we developed thermocontrol screening stations. It is a quick and safe solution. Thermocontrol measures temperature at a distance of 25 centimeters. The device is autonomous. It does not require an additional employee to conduct temperature measurements or log the results. It can measure and even recognize masked faces. All of the results are logged automatically and stored in the database. You can use the station to ensure your clients and employees access to your building automatically.
John Smith, Robot.
The station can issue entrance passes and grant access to the building after it measured the person's temperature. If the visitor's temperature is high, a notification will be sent and a potential carrier of the virus can't access the building. Thermocontrol can send SMS and messenger notifications, as well as notifications over email. Temperature measurement technologies allow businesses to ensure the safety of people and potentially save lives all over the world.
All right, folks, good afternoon, and this is the Marketplace Show Reset. I'm Anthony Weeks, executive producer and host. I will be joined by my colleagues, both Linda and Carolyn, out of the Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. How you guys doing today?
We're doing well.
Very well. Doing great.
You guys look like you're radiating. You look like you're in your glee or something. What, you guys just did a big deal or something? Is there something am I missing there? You guys look like the world there. I
can't say. No, we're happy for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, for our health and for our good mental health at this point, and just always open to wonderful opportunities. So it's good to be alive.
And Linda?
And COVID free.
And COVID free. We got a lot to talk about. Talking about COVID, lots of development.
We do.
Development front. But before I do, I'd like to kind of, just like I always try to do, share some important statistics in terms of where the case numbers are. And reporting from the marketplace, as of yesterday, U.S. COVID-19 death reported 1,136 and rising. U.S. COVID-19 new cases reported yesterday, 147,074 and rising. These are numbers only within the United States. Again, this is only in the United States.
Yes.
Daily new tests reported in the U.S. 1.93 million. Again, that's almost 2 million. We are about to cross the 2 million threshold in terms of cases in the United States. You have an incredible number worldwide. Those numbers are record high, and they continue to rise. You have COVID-19 patients now in the hospital. That's 96,039. Again, patients in the United States, COVID-19 patients in the hospital, 96,039. That's a record number, record high, and that's climbing. And so I'm going to stop there. Ladies, do you believe these numbers?
We believe them.
Absolutely.
Carolyn is the keeper of statistics, and she's going to share what's happening right here in the Washington metropolitan area, which consists of Maryland, Northern Virginia, and the District of Columbia. And we believe those numbers. We believe what's really happening in the United States. But we have a bigger belief. And that bigger belief is that somewhere, hopefully not far off in the future, we will be in a position to trust and feel very confident about the vaccinations, that they will be universal, supportive to all kind of individuals, regardless of their health status. And, we applaud all of the pharmas who are working diligently around the world, because where our colleague Colin lives in the UK, they're cleared to be able to start, mass population vaccinating their citizens. And we just are trusting that our healthcare community has our best interest and our future best interest at heart. So we do believe the numbers, but we're sad about them. It's daunting because every day is a new record. So with every day being a new record means we're not getting behind the habit of safely addressing on an individual level COVID-19. We've normalized it on some interesting level, but we still have a long way to go. And I know Carolyn has, really kept our team abreast and keeping a line of sight on the statistics so that we as a company and she and I and our families and our friends around us practice the kinds of things that we have been taught to practice.
Carolyn, if you allow me to, I'd like to just expand a little bit on what Lindsay just mentioned. So it was reported early this morning, that the UK will start testing their citizens. Mm-hmm. And then there was a subsequent report coming out of Asia. The Chinese centralized health system, along with Alibaba, teaming up with, from a logistical standpoint, with Ethiopian Airline, which is an African air freight or airline company, and I think there's some symbolism there. Okay, I think that different parts of the region are trying to, if you will, convey a different message. Yeah. But I think what I'm hearing is, why is it that the U.S. is lagging? How come the U.S. was not first to come out? Pfizer, well, I guess technically you can say we're the first only because Pfizer is a U.S. company, but from an approval standpoint, the country of the United Kingdom was first to authorize the use of the vaccine, even though Pfizer is a U.S. company. With I think it's BioNTech, I think is the name of the company, which is from Germany, and so you can hear the concern. Why is the U.S. lagging? Why wasn't the U.S. first to come out with it? When you consider, I think we were the first to announce the efficacy levels of 94 and 95 respectively, mm-hmm. and then a second company came out, and so. How is it that we announced, but yet we are lagging behind in terms of the approval process?
I'm just going to say one word, and then I'm going to pitch it over to Carolyn.
It depends on the word you say.
Yeah, the word I'm going to say is it has been politicized, and I'm going to leave it at that.
You think so?
I do believe strongly in that. Having been,
you don't think it's a competition? You don't think it's purely nations competing against nation? This is not really about, well, there's the economic component and then there's the political component, right? So the geopolitical and the socioeconomic impact
you have
in
to
terms
keep
of the
in
announcement.
mind, Anthony, think about this. Companies like like AstraZeneca and Pfizer and other major Gilead, all of these companies are multinational. They have a global business imprint. So it is behooving because their customers are all over the world. They are like you and me here, you in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and people in the UK, Thailand, Africa, wherever they are. They're serving their domestic customer as one global company with subsidiaries, with joint ventures, of course. But I believe, based on what I have assessed and just my focus on what's really going on here, it was politicized. Carolyn?
Well, one thing that I will say, and this isn't new as it relates to this COVID drug, our Food and Drug Administration has always, in my opinion, and much to my glee, has always moved very methodically around approving any types of drugs or vaccines. I'm really proud of the way how, despite COVID being around for 9 months now, at least 9 months that we were really aware of it, that they have put through the EUA, the emergency use authorization. They have put forward a lot of things that would normally take years and years. So I'm not upset that they are so strict and so stringent when it comes to the impact of anything that they're approving. And that's anything that they're approving. there's oftentimes these things are approved offshore, somewhere in Europe, long before they're approved here. So that doesn't surprise me, nor does it necessarily disappoint me. I want the most careful, I want the most effective, and yet the one that is going to cause the least amount of damage to be available for people. So I'm not disappointed. I do think that pharmaceutical companies compete. I think competition is a wonderful thing, but I think the Food and Drug Administration has risen to the occasion, and they've been approving as needed. So,
Well, okay, so
Good point.
and I will factor all of that in, but when you think of in the U.S., the Western society, the Western world, open society, then when you start looking at the Eastern countries, not as open. Okay, so one can question like Russia and North Korea and in some cases China whether or not they're giving us the real, numbers, right? And they can somehow manipulate, for lack of a better description, the reports. But in this country, when they surveyed Americans, 60% of Americans said that they are willing to be vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the majority of American. But 40% say they're anti-vaccine. That is a substantial number.
it is.
Yes, but
So-
but let's put that in perspective. Not just a COVID vaccine. There's a
I
large
was gonna say
number of individuals. I have middle school, high school daughters, and just received something in the mail that said I didn't submit one of their vaccination tests, and of course they're up. I just need to send it. So there are large, groups of individuals who do not believe in vaccinating at all. I mean, we struggle, having worked in healthcare myself, worked in a hospital where our employees were required for their employment to have their flu shot. There were many, many, many who were very troubled by that, and some who lost their job because it was certainly a mandate. So sometimes we wonder, is it just, let's chalk it up to common sense? But there are so many untrusting and, people who just simply do not trust the institution, the medical institutions, the governmental institutions, to keep us safe from whatever we're putting in our bodies. And no wonder we are living in a pandemic that lets us know that there is an issue.
Right. And to that point, Anthony, there is a huge community that is anti-childhood vaccines, the vaccines that most of us take for granted. So this isn't, once again, this isn't a new discussion. And I don't even think the percentages are, this whole idea of there being a large group that dissents. I don't think that that's even unusual. It's just, now your mind might say to you, well, why wouldn't anybody rush to get a vaccine that could prevent this deadly virus from spreading further or to protect themselves? But there's as much fear. And I have to tell you, I'm one of those really scared people. If it normal, we heard from Colin a few months ago that in the UK, and just based on his background, he understands that it takes about 12 years to come up with a vaccine that is both safe and effective.
Well, yes. And I'm glad that you, well, okay. 12, 10, whatever.
10, 12.
But to be able to, according to President Trump, and that's where his legacy, if there will be a legacy for President Trump, is that he was more focused on the vaccine, a cure of, if you will, of COVID-19. And so when you compare 10 years or 12, however you want to do it, semantics, right? And you literally develop a vaccine in 9 months, in less than a year, you could understand the reservation, the skepticism. How do you go from a decade, 10 years, to less than a year that you develop?
Because the American public, as well as possibly the global public, are not privy to. We all are talking, conspiracies, but we're not really privy to what is happening in the R&D space and the projections, because President Obama left office with a blueprint, as we have all heard, and some of us have read that blueprint on how to deal with a pandemic. it was very clear it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And he went so far as to say it could happen in 10 years, it could happen in 5 years. Well, it was 5 years. So there's an echelon of individuals who do keep a line of sight on what is happening and why. So it doesn't surprise me necessarily, because epidemics are not new. COVID in its formal name is, looking at what has happened before in various disease states. We've had Ebola, we've had SARS, we've had MARS, we've had all kind of issues. So hopefully this wasn't a start from scratch. There was a need to refocus specifically on the genealogy of this particular virus and really the anatomy of it, if you will, to know what to do. It is remarkable that we are, 9-10 months later with the vaccination, and that there's human trials being conducted, but it's just that serious. So it lets us know what industry can do when it collaborates together, and it is part of a global community of finding a cure, finding a way to deal with this remarkable, horrific thing called COVID-19.
And Anthony, let me ask you this, because this is what frightens me, to be really, really honest. It's not that they haven't found something that could be safe and effective, if you will. Just give me the liberty on both those, using both those words against this. What I'm concerned about is what else is it doing in my body in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, because sometimes we really don't understand and realize that. And because I do have a family that is, everybody cares about their health care, but there's certain people that are, because of pre-existing conditions, have extra challenges around that. So it makes me very, very fearful. Sometimes we don't find out until much later. Even with drugs that have received FDA approval, we got to listen to this laundry list of things. It can cause heart attack, stroke, this and that. And it's mortifying. And these are things that they know because they've tested over 5, 7, 9, 10 years. We don't have that list that goes with this one yet. And so that's what's a little frightening to me.
So do we go with the Neanderthal approach of no vaccination? Okay, we can embrace the evolution of humanity and all of the advancement and innovation and technology for everything else, but not when it comes to medicine. Now, if that was the case, polio, measles, all these disease, yellow fever, all these diseases that were literally wiping out mankind, if we didn't come up with these advanced medicine technology, we'd be in trouble. Okay, so you have a bucket of people, a group of people that says, okay, like that crazy doctor that was advising Trump, basically talked about herd immunity, right? Basically, don't close down your economy, don't close your state down, don't close your country down. Let everybody just go out and let the strongest survive. Okay, we're willing to put at risk, because they're considered collateral damage, allow the weak to die and the strong to live, right? But to reach herd immunity, you gotta what 80%? You have to achieve 80% of your population in order to become immune from COVID-19. So are you willing to risk? We're talking about 1.5 million people in terms of official reported numbers around the world that people died. And what about the unofficial numbers? Yeah. Those countries that don't have the kind of advanced, sophisticated healthcare system, the poor countries, the closed society countries, that number is not a real number. The 1.5 is what has been reported and accounted for. Okay, so what are we really willing to gamble here?
Well, first of all, let me just say this. I take an issue with describing you, our family, and the human race as being part of a herd. And that's a terminology that may work within agriculture.
I didn't describe. I am just regurgitating what was said.
Doctor, I follow the concept. Anthony, we love you. We know that you are on our side. So I just have to say that is a concept that I don't think in this instance is quite appropriate. And we have already seen the results of it based on the super spread. In some communities and some states they're just abandoning their contact tracing because it's too complicated, it's too laborsome at this point, and it's not getting to the heart of addressing, reducing the spread. The second question, and
So you don't support contact tracing?
I absolutely do. I do
You
support contact tracing, but because we've had so many cases and they're coming so quickly, and we're experiencing new highs every day, there are some communities that cannot keep up with an effective contact tracing initiative.
Wait a minute, Linda. Wait a minute.
It's happening.
You talked about the intense labor deployment of people to contact trace people who've come in contact with others. Once again, the skepticism of technology. There's technology that's in place that can be used to mitigate.
Absolutely.
We know that. We have that.
I can tell you.
Right. So you don't want vaccine. You don't want the technology for contact tracing.
No.
So,
we
but
do want the technology. We absolutely, Carolyn and I have a company that has a product and a device and software and technology that allows to support that. What I'm saying is we do want contact tracing, and we want every individual to be mindful of that they are themselves a contact tracer. You, Carolyn, and I must be on the front line of that for our own families, and then when needed, be able to report our, any contact with someone possibly affected to the authorities. I also think that it's important that we encourage becoming vaccinated. We are frightened on some level, but we have to be wise and smart at this point.
Exactly.
And the technology is advanced. We know that this wasn't just this didn't just happen yesterday. There's been concerted, remarkable, intense research, development, and actually deploying all the skills and knowledge of past epidemics and perhaps unbeknown to us, global pandemics of a certain level into this level of development, because we have had a universal, like literally universal, issue with pandemic across the world. And so that's what we have to be able to support and not and it's so that we don't have a situation where we walk away from contact tracing and we walk away from vaccinating, and because we don't believe masks do not work. It's the same mentality. We have to deploy all the resources to address this.
So there's eight. There is. I'm going to say 8 just to round it off. There's 7, just not to be technical. 7+ billion people on the earth, and so is it conceivable that we're going to be able to inoculate, the total planet population, or realistically 5 billion people? And it's ironic, ladies, that some will think that the challenge where we talked about it takes 10 years to do R&D to come up with a vaccine, we did it in warp speed in 9 months, but it's going to turn out the Herculean task is not in the development of the vaccine, is the logistics of getting the vaccine from the manufacturer to the front line. And the different touch points in between A and Z is where you're going to have a great deal of complexity in being able to deploy the human capital, the technology, the transportation, the ability to coordinate, and now we're talking the difference between temperature of one vaccine over the next. We're talking about a massive. They're saying this is going to probably be the greatest logistical challenge in history.
And we have to agree with it. No, and we agree with that. That's really, when you think about it, there is so much. Just think about, even in terms of testing, the challenges around where there would be test sites, how they would be manned, how people get. So just imagine, replicate what you've done in trying to do COVID testing, and now turn all those sites into inoculation centers, vaccine centers. And you say, you're absolutely right. It's a huge task, which is why more than ever, the very simple things that we were told to do to mitigate risk are still there. Wear a mask. If it's cloth, wash or clean it.
But
Wash
we don't even want to do that. We don't even want to be a
we
mask.
absolutely
Forget technology. We don't even
I
want
am I am a mask wearer. I am a hand washer. Now, mask wearing is new for me, but hand washing is not. Social distancing makes me happy. So while we are waiting for our vaccines to be airlifted or dropped or however they're going to be delivered to us, if we're not doing those basic things, we're working against the process anyway.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so you're talking about, and I'm going to quantify this number only because Trump got 73 million of the voting population. And they believe this is a big hoax. It's not real. It's conspired. It's not real, right? So they're not wearing masks, right? We know some of them are, but the large majority of his supporters don't believe, because starting with the president, he's not a champion of protecting each other by wearing masks. Okay, so we don't believe in wearing masks. And there's technology, but there's not that kind of technology, different kind of technology. We don't want to wear masks. We don't want to get vaccinated, and we don't want to do technology contact tracing. Is it me? But what?
Well, Anthony, let's just recognize on the heels of what you just described, there's a reason why he didn't win. Because many of those individuals are now falling victim to that understanding. And while there was a belief in their candidate, and that's the democratic way, and we appreciate all that occurred to get us to where we are with the newly elected president and newly elected vice president, the reality remains that did not resolve COVID overnight. Whoever was going to be in the office, it becomes really a societal responsibility paired with our industries and our global partners and our global governments, because we're all part of the human race. So there's going to be a faction of that human race, of that global population, that are going to continue to do exactly what they're doing. And that is nothing. They may not survive in the long run or live well in the long run. There's nothing we can do about that except for show example for adhering to the guidelines and then putting in play a strong public awareness campaign that really, really, truly supports all of these initiatives for all the right reason.
Hey, Terry, man, you missed a healthy discourse. I'm like taking these ladies to task. There are.
Exactly.
I know Terry has something to say. She's got to unmute herself. But Carolyn, you were saying something.
Terry, you remember back in the day, which one of my favorite news personalities is Barbara Walters. Remember how Barbara Walters would get you in on an interview and lull you into a false sense of security, and then she'd have you crying. Anthony did a Barbara Walters conversation. A normal conversation, and all of a sudden, Anthony, did you not say you just let loose? You Barbara Waltered us. Congratulations.
I Barbara Waltered you guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's excellent, Carolyn.
It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy, ladies. but really, when you can really think about it, though, okay, there's a daunting task ahead. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about they're anticipating. Dr. Fauci said we are looking at the cusp of the most darkest moment in this pandemic. Yes. Okay, in the winter season, with a combination of influenza and the second, third wave of COVID-19. Okay, so for those, I'm gonna make a bet. I'm gonna make a bet with you guys. How many people, for those who say they would not take the vaccine, if they're in ICU and everything all the treatments have been tried, hasn't worked, everything is okay, there's no more option but the vaccine. How many people of that 40% that said they wouldn't take the vaccine would take the vaccine?
I'm taking the vaccine. No, what I laid out for you was my thought process around why I'm fearful of it. I have been a vaccinating mommy since my first child was born, and they have all of their vaccines. And my husband gets a flu shot every year, and I'm now a flu shot getter.
Right.
But I told you what's happening here. My fear is a real fear. In a
Yeah.
year from now, will they suddenly say, well, Carolyn, great, you made it through COVID, but unfortunately, both your kidneys have tanked. And now, or, I'm saying, I don't know what those long reaching side effects may be from it, whether they're immediate or not. So that is a fear for me. But I also like to make wise decisions based on the best available data.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
Right.
That's good. Well,
Yeah.
ladies, I don't know if you want to. I'm going to give you the option. I know you're very busy, but we're going to be celebrating the life of a Virgin Islander,
Yeah.
a man, a visionary, a man who have done something within the media space, create a major media brand while he was with Viacom, one of the largest media companies in the world. He was deputy counsel for MTV, where he created Tempo. And so I have been part of that journey with him from the inception. And so I'm looking forward to being able to have the conversation with Frederick Morton today. And I'm going to just bring him in so you guys could say hi. I don't know if you want to stay, but he's there. He's in queue. Let me bring him up. Let's see if we can get Frederick up here.
Hi.
Well,
Frederick, what's going on, man?
I'm great. I'm great.
Nice.
Every time.
I'm just gonna say, can I just say this? I am really pleased to meet you because I had the absolute pleasure of working for Viacom as part of the BET networks, where I was vice president for the BET Foundation, one of Bob Johnson's last major initiative before he completely departed the company. So we know all about Dr. Morton and your accomplishments. So pleasure to meet you, and pleasure to still be with my colleagues on this show. This is a great show.
This is amazing. This is amazing.
Fantastic. So go ahead, Frederick. Go ahead. Okay.
No, I was.
So what we're going to do, we're going to transition now. Yeah, we're going to transition to the segment. We just, Linda and Carolyn are our experts in the healthcare space, and so we just had a really robust discussion on the the situation of COVID. But we're going to transition now to the. Right. We're going to transition now into the entertainment space and our business segment space with Terry, of course, Coaxum. And so I'm going to do an introduction video, and then we'll start the conversation with Frederick here on the marketplace and JumpStart TV. All right, ladies.
Great show.
We'll be right back.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1. Now I watch Tempo, Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dance. Oh, don't stall, better get tuned in to the Tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. Mr. Latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
Wow. Freedom right now means the ability to do what we actually set out to do without, any prohibitions, without any, man-made hurdles.
By the end of the Almighty, we forward in this generation.
And so uniting our region, letting us see each other and understanding that together we are actually much stronger. Continuing to spread that unification. All these various islands we haven't been yet that just dying to feel the tempo. We're gonna go give it to them.
Redemption song. Redemption song.
I always remember Frederick being, I mean, just from a very early age, very smart. When he got older, he became very popular. You know, he was Mr. DJ, Mr. Entertainer, always dancing, always dancing.
I'm sitting here at MTV Networks, and I'm thinking to myself, well, Caribbean people have contributed so much to the world and to world pop culture. I started to think about all of that, and I was like, wow, these are all the things that make great television.
It's exciting, very exciting. You know, I always figure he'd do something like this. I never know to what extent he would be, but he always had the potential to do something like this.
From that moment, I knew that Tempo was going to be something special, something new, something different, because there was this confident, easygoing, you know, proud black brother. He got right into it, told me all about what he had in mind, all about what his visions and his dreams were. You know, I was hooked, line and sinker.
For me, Tempo is really embody the Caribbean, not just the music and just the videos, but it's the life on different islands.
He was the main person that pushed me and supported me, and if it weren't for that push, I probably wouldn't have hosted up until now.
In the short time that I've been here, almost a year and a half that I've been here at Tempo, I have really seen how hard you work, and I can only imagine how much work you have put in over these past 15 years.
Because I believe that I've been ordained to do what I'm doing, and that is to put my fist up and say Caribbean is the most extraordinary place on earth.
Oh, I guess after such a wonderful piece on introducing Frederick, Frederick and I have worked with each other for the past 15 years, and it's really incredible to be able to be there to hallmark a milestone in terms of what he's accomplished. And my colleague Terry Coaxum and Mr. Temple himself, Dr. Frederick Morton Jr., also Esquire, an attorney, is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Tempo Networks, a Caribbean diaspora, Caribbean American first, if you will, in terms of Main Street entertainment major media brand that was created by a visionary that was the deputy counsel for MTV, which was a Viacom company. He created this vision, and is now 15 years later, we can celebrate with him, and I'm proud to call him friend, proud to call him colleague, proud to call him a strategic partner. We work together, and I'm Frederick. I'm looking forward to the future. Terry and I are excited to be able to have this opportunity just to kind of dialogue with you. And congratulations on your prestigious award in the Caribbean Heritage Award that you received last month. And welcome to the marketplace. Welcome to JumpStart TV. Welcome to the program live here on WSDX 970 AM, live, of course, broadcast on Tempo, live on La Mega Mundial, and live on several media platforms across the board. Welcome to the program.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's a beautiful introduction. I really do appreciate it. First of all, let me say, thank you, Anthony, for always being there from day one and being a really great, as you said, strategic partner, but mostly being a great friend approximating family. In fact, let me just say family.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're my brother. So I thank you for the brotherhood. Terry, it is a pleasure. It's great to be here with you. Yeah. And I'm really excited to be here on the marketplace. To all my folks in the Virgin Islands, Virgin Islands is home. St. Croix, born and raised. I want to say a special greeting to you because, of course, you're my extended family. And so I really do appreciate it. So Anthony,
this is where you launched. This is where you launched. You launched the first Tempo Turn 1.
That's right.
In St. Croix.
That's
okay?
right. That's right.
And
That's
you're
right.
you're son of the soil. You're son of the soil, and you were
I am.
true to your birthplace here in St. Croix to launch Tempo, and want to thank you for that. And the people of the Virgin Islands, I'm sure, are grateful to be part of that history.
Well, I am a proud Virgin Islander. I am a proud Cruisan, and it was to me, it was only natural that that was going to be the case. So yes, we launched, and not only did we launch in the Virgin Islands, but we had almost 4 or 5 different events in the Virgin Islands over the years. You know, who will forget Kramer Park? Who will forget Rock Temple?
10,000 people.
More. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm okay. More. Okay. On a beach. On a beach.
More like the official count was like about 12,000 actually. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That was a feat. I mean, just logistically, it was just, it seemed like it was going to be impossible. But people literally walked half of the island to get to Kramer Park.
Yeah. People have the stories on that. You know, they parked. I can't remember. I think it's DV. Some people had to park all the way by DV and walk all the way to Kramer Park to get in. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the stories, when they tell those stories, they tell it with such passion, because when they got there and they saw what was happening and they didn't leave till 6 a.m. in the morning, everybody was happy. And so it's such a memorable event that God was with us, and he still is. And so that event, everybody just remembers very fondly. And then, of course, we had the event at the racetrack. We had the event at where was it? It was at the agriculture. The agriculture.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Remember that, right? And then the launch event.
And that site, just for the listening and viewing public,
yeah.
The agriculture site is the site where we hold the state fair, where in that weekend over 35,000 people congregate.
That's right.
Converge to celebrate the local agriculture here in the Virgin Islands. They come from all over the Caribbean. Farmers come from all over the Caribbean to exhibit their agricultural, fruits, the harvesting, if you will.
Right. And then finally, I mean, the launch event itself was kept on Frederiksted Pier. If you remember, the pier wasn't even finished. There was a big hole in the pier that we put stuff around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The pier had like this big hole in the middle, and we sort of barricaded it around so that no one would be affected by it. And the people were all on the pier, and, it was something, Wow. So the VI, man, that's home, and it'll forever be in my heart. And we created some wonderful memories over the years.
A lot of good history here.
Indeed.
And also the tenacity of the Virgin Islands. I mean, to walk out the island to make sure that they were making a part of history. That in itself would make you really, really proud. So yeah.
I am.
So Terry, Tempo Networks is headquartered, obviously, MTV, Viacom out of New York City, obviously Manhattan. But when Frederick acquired Tempo, he moved over to Newark, New Jersey. But that's still part of the New York tri-state area. Tell us a little bit. You're in New York, and you know the Caribbean diaspora very well. For a feat such as this, creating a major, if you will, entertainment brand that Frederick has created. What does that mean for people of color, people who are from the Caribbean, in the New York City tri-state area, from your perspective?
First of all, I want to say, Frederick, Dr. Morton, you've earned it, right? So, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. But more importantly, this marks a significant achievement, not just for Caribbean people, but for people of color specifically, because the entertainment space is a hard space to break into. No matter what genre, it's a very hard space. And then for you to accomplish what you've accomplished with Tempo takes it 10 levels above that. And so I commend you on all of your efforts and all of your hard work just to get the branding. There's so much noise, especially, we're in New York, right? So you have a little bit of everything here. So for you to be able to be heard past that noise,
yes,
significant accomplishment. So that's number one. Number two is you've been able to sustain the test of time. And I mean, we all know how music has changed over time. And so, we saw, movies about it and things like Cadillac Record or Dream Girls, how those specific areas and genres of music have moved over time. But even now with the digital divide, this has to be for you. This has to be every day. You're thinking of creative ways to kind of stay on top of what that is to make sure that you're continuing to move forward and continue to brand out and to bring people on. I heard saw the video ahead of time, and I see that there was individuals that have worked with you that are so proud of what you've accomplished, and they talk about your work ethic. And I've worked with Anthony for several years. I used to be the Region 2 advocate that covered the Virgin Islands. And I mean, the work ethic is unbelievable for Virgin Islands. That's why we came when I was like, Virgin Island, nice. So I mean, this is truly a pleasure to be to be able to have this conversation with you. But I would like to know, specifically for the listening audience, I would like to know just a little bit more about how you're able to stay on top, specifically in this pandemic, because there's so much going on in the world.
Yeah.
Great point.
It is. Let me say thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Those kind words are music to my ears, poetry to my heart, because they are encouraging and inspiring and connecting to the second part of what you said. It is that sort of gives me the passion to always continue. So I really appreciate those encouraging words, right? So, but the essence of making progress is to consistently innovate and reevaluate and reflect and pivot and make certain that you are constantly understanding that change is inevitable, that and change now is not only inevitable, but it's quite rapid. So you got the new iPhone today, and the next couple months it's obsolete, right? The new one, right? You have a particular format that you're working with, and in 6 months that format is no longer relevant. You put out a song today, and you think it gonna pump for a while, but you better put out a song 2 weeks from now, because people are putting out songs left and right. You have so much noise, as you said, in the marketplace, because information now and the access to that information is so incredibly it's there, it's right there, it's accessible, it's voluminous, there's a ton of it. So what you have to do if you're operating in that type of environment, which is the environment that we are operating in, is you do have to, you have to stay aware, you have to stay awake, right? You have to make sure that you never go to sleep, right? And I don't mean physically, but that's your brain, right? That's sometimes it's that, sometimes you can't go to sleep, but physically, right? But it's more just sort of being in tune always. So every year, for example, I go through a personal reflection, and that reflection usually includes, okay, this is what you did last year. This is what you did. What are you going to do this year, Frederick? What are you going to do, right? Because I have to, in that annual meeting that we would have, that we would set the direction for the year, I got to come in and motivate my team. And I got to come in and say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to accomplish this year. This is how we're going to do it, right? This year, and then I'm going to slide into a specific example, right? So you talked particularly about COVID and pandemic and operating in this environment, right? So I had to make a decision. We're celebrating 15 years. Typically, when we celebrate, we have a big event. Not just big event, we have big events, right? So we would have, 2, 3, or 4 of them, especially for 15.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's what he knows. So we would have like 2 or 3, 4 events around the region, you know, 10,000 plus people in national stadiums, and we would be really celebrating in that way. That would be our normal celebration. But this year, we couldn't, right? We couldn't, for the obvious reasons. There's none of that. You can't even have 50 people in the room, right? So we had to decide, or I had to decide, well, what in this environment, what does tempo mean in this environment? What should Tempo Turns 15 mean right now? And so I said, well, listen, 15 is so significant. It's such a milestone that, you know, this is an opportunity for us to reflect, right? So many people have great tempo memories. We just talked about some of them, right? Walking to the event at Kramer Park and seeing the sunrise, meeting their spouses at tempo events, learning to dance from tempo, growing up on it, learning some values. I mean, these are all things that people talk about. So what I decided was that we needed to do that. We need to have people share their memories, think about, you know, what tempo meant over the years, and then show and express our gratitude for that, right? So we couldn't be, and I couldn't do what I do without encouragement like what you just gave me, and support, right? You know, and support from those that we are trying to reach. I mean, so we know we've made an impact, and gratitude for me, Terry, is everything. I feel like, you know, love is at the top of the chart as a quality, but appreciation and gratitude to me is almost like right next to it. Yeah, so I am grateful for that love and support that the network has had over the years. So for Tempo Turns 15, we're going to be giving away a lot of things. We're partnering with a lot of our strategic partners around the region. And so we're for all those memories that have been collected, and for all of the support that the network has had, I said, you know what, for 15, what we're going to do is we're going to give. So really, by the end of this week, we're going to announce that we're giving away a trip to Grenada when COVID at least sort of eases up. Yeah. Oh, wow. I actually wasn't supposed to say that because it's not out yet. But hey, that's all right. That's all right. Too late. But we're partnered with this carrier, Inter-Caribbean Airways, that's out of Turks and Caicos, right? And Silver Sands. I'm just going to announce it. I mean,
the genie's out of the bottle, man.
It's out. But anyway, we're giving away a trip. Awesome, right? And it's not just a trip; it's really a high-end super trip. And I'm personally going to give it away to personally say thanks to our audience, right? So the sweepstakes will be, you know, share your tempo memory. Tell us how you're keeping your tempo up during this period of time, and we're going to select from that, you know, a lucky couple, or blessed couple rather, you know, that would receive the trip. But we're also giving away. I'm in Trinidad at the moment because I got locked in here prior to the pandemic, and I've partnered with
TNT. I said
yes.
TNT.
Yeah, TNT. So I've partnered here locally with like the lens crafter of Trinidad and Tobago. They're called Value Optical. And so, and this is just examples because we're going to be giving away all through the different islands and stuff. But we're going to be giving away 15 eyeglasses where I will be saying that Tempo Turns 15 and my vision is clear. Brought to you by
Branding.
Right. and that's it, right? So my vision is clear, and I do feel that. And so we're gonna we're gonna be giving away booze from champagne. We're gonna be giving away a whole bunch of different things from now until probably the end of January, because we plan to celebrate 15 for the entire year. So that's a long answer to tell you that, like, you know, it's a constant thinking about where you are in a moment, thinking about the future, yes, but where you are in a moment, and figuring out what's best to represent the brand and present the brand in that moment. We go through that exercise. I go through that exercise constantly. It's the stuff that keeps me awake at night. you know, and the young folks and the I now say the young folks, right? Because it is the young folks. Yeah. The young folks are constantly and rapidly, you know, changing.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Listen, you're still young, man. What are you talking about?
For myself, right? I have to speak for myself. I know that. I know. But yeah. So I mean, the other part about it is that I do believe that I'm in my purpose and in my calling. So yeah. So it is kind of coming, I think, through me from the Almighty, who I very much, you know, use for my support. And so for some, you know, for that reason, I believe that, you know, I've been equipped to keep up.
That's right.
And to be relevant. Yeah.
And this is really important, Frederick, because what you're saying, so we have as you know, we have a vast listening audience, and this particular show, we're looking to jumpstart the economy. We're looking to motivate and encourage, you know, the listening audience with your testimony, with the testimonies of others that we're bringing on the show. And so just your testimony of being tenacious, of, you know, starting out in your birthland, right? And then moving to New York and, you know, branding and continuing to give back and appreciate customers, but more importantly, to appreciate where you are in this time and to pivot, you know. Yes. There is a lot of things, you know, when I talk, because I do business development, my business, I'm a consultant, I do business development. My business is Coax and Connects, connecting you because relationships matter. Yeah, right? And so one of the things that I have to tell my business is you have to diversify. Like, you may start off in one way, but so many things are changing, like right now with the pandemic, that you have to diversify your brand in order to stay alive, in order to have more offerings. And it looks like you've done that, right? You've been able to start out, start out your brand, but then build on your brand, be able to pivot, be able to change directions, take advice from your colleagues, employees, and customers. And I think that is really important for the listening audience that are looking to jumpstart the economy, that are looking to the marketplace to be able to get the tools and tips to move forward. I think that this is a great story to be able to share with them. So we thank you for turning 15, number one, because that's a significant thing. You know, most businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. So, you know, you're way over that, right? So that's really a great accomplishment. And being second sweet TNT is not a bad thing. That's an excellent thing. So this is much Caribbean, right? Yeah, all of the Caribbean. So your Tempo represents all of the Caribbean, and this is just your way of saying I'm promoting all of the Caribbean, because you promoted the Virgin Islands, Grenada, and Trinidad on this one testimony. So we thank you for that as well.
Okay, so let's use this opportunity. We now need to close out the first segment.
Okay.
And then we're going to transition to the second segment. So we're going to go over to the second studio. Okay. So let me close out. This is out. We're interviewing. We're hanging out with our special guest, Frederick Morton Jr. He is the founder, chairman, and CEO of Tempo Networks Television. And we're going to continue the conversation with him here on the program on the Marketplace and JumpStart TV. We'll be right back. And so we're talking a little bit.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the Tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.